Hello, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie Tana, and I love to talk about stories of all different kinds, in all different forms. And today I'm going to be talking about another Terry Pratchett book I read, and that would be Guards. I have not read much of Terry Pratchett. My first ever of his was Mort, and then I've read Good Omens, which is his and Neil Gaiman's, and then Guards. So this book I have heard recommended to be like a good entry point into Discworld. And what is Discworld? That is Terry Pratchett's universe he created of satirical fantasy views of reality. Because that's what satire is, right? It's commentary. But done so well that you don't even need it to be commenting on anything because it's so darn funny. And also very sweet and very endearing. So what is Guards about? This book takes place in the realm of Ankh-Morpork, and I think I'm saying that right. This is in a city not ruled by a king, though a dark society plots to place a puppet onto the throne by introducing a dragon into society again to threaten the people and to inspire the taking over of a king so that they can, tell him what to do as all, dark societies want to, right? They want to control the monarchy. But, so this book follows, yes, the dark society, yes, the dragon, but then most importantly, we have the Night Watch, comprised of a few doing their best members of the city's sort of policing force, including Captain Vimes, who is doing his best, and Carrot, who is doing really well. And Carrot is the son of a dwarf, and he sort of in Elf, the movie style fashion, learns that he is not a dwarf, he is a human young man. And he's like, oh, is that why I'm so tall and much bigger than everyone? And they're like, yeah. And they have to inform him, his parents, that he, was found as a babe sort of story. And he goes and joins the Night Watch and takes it so literally and is just such a wonderful, diligent member of the team. Okay, there's tons of characters and there's tons going on. It's just so silly and so fun. So with the introduction of a dragon, the Night Watch has to react, has to figure out how to help the city and figure out the secret plot that is going on. Also, there's an orangutan who is a librarian, so that was also awesome. And every moment of communication with him was so funny. This book made me laugh. Like, I did not stop laughing. And I dog-eared several pages. And you can hate on me all you want, but this is so I can go back and laugh. And I didn't have any tabs with me at the time. So yeah, I just dog-eared the parts that made me chuckle, because I chuckled a lot. And I laughed out loud. Literally. Genuinely. Truly. Because Terry Pratchett is once again just a funny person, and also makes you go, while you're also laughing and rolling your eyes. So it's wonderful. There's one scene in particular, and I won't spoil it for you, where Captain Vimes, in his newfound care for his job and desire to help the city, and Carrot's sweet, naive due diligence, but also skill, combined with the perfect timing and their misunderstanding of each other, like, it made me laugh. Like, I pictured it like a movie scene, and it made me laugh out loud. And I just can't recommend this to you guys enough. If you want, and this is not to say that these books aren't rich and wonderful and well written, but if you want something that is not such a heavy story and tough to get through, like, getting through the Wheel of Time has been rewarding but tough. And every now and then a Terry Pratchett, I'm learning, is like perfect little snack that makes you feel full and makes you feel like refreshed and nourished. So I really do recommend it. So what did I learn from Guards by Terry Pratchett? As a writer and as someone who enjoys stories in general, what made this one work? As far as theme goes, this book explores sort of how a society can just crumble, how people's preconceived notions without any rhyme or reason to them can lead to them believing in and following ideals and people they wouldn't normally, because that's just the way it is, or because that's like tradition or history, or like, oh, that's what happens when a king is here, we do this. And as ever, Terry Pratchett makes you ask questions without realizing you're asking questions about society, and then just laughing and having a good time. But Pratchett also manages to fit a lot for each character into this one book. He knows what his characters are about, what they're missing, and how they work together. He doesn't just write characters sharing a world with their own separate stories, but rather having interwoven stories that help build on each other, whether they challenge each other's weaknesses or fulfill each other's needs in some way. They all manage to sort of do that. And even if it's just minor, it still is efficient and kind of entertaining, especially where odd groups get mixed up together and form unlikely pairings. It's just so fun. And so I think knowing what is your character about, what is their, what are they working on right now? How could that connect to someone else makes it a little bit more rich. I think there's a similar bit of advice in music when you're composing let's say you're composing a piece and it's just one piece and you have a melody in mind. Rather than writing several melodies and then combining together, you work on that melody to see what else it can create. You play it in a different pattern, rhythmically, dynamically, things like that. And you can do that with your characters. So the themes that they're all exploring, how do they relate to each other? And how can they help each other with those themes? And also, how can the combinations of certain people make it really, really funny? I also can just never get enough of his writing. You feel smart when you get certain jokes, even though the jokes themselves are so, so silly. It's also the British humor. I love it. I've always loved it. I'll never get tired of it. Pratchett trusted us. He trusts the reader to understand what he's laid out for you. And if you're wondering if your jokes are going to land, and not just your jokes, but also other impactful moments, because making people laugh is just as hard, if not much, much, much harder than making people cry. I'd say making people laugh and making people afraid when they're reading or watching your story those are the hardest things. I think horror and comedy are the most challenging things to write, but emotional, impactful moments too. If you want to test out how they work and your beta readers or whomever are telling you, this point didn't land for me, you can ask them, what was the biggest emotional beat for you? What made you laugh the most? And if they don't say the thing that you think is the funniest or the most impactful, you can't argue with them. That's just fact. It just might not have hit them as much as you expected it to. So let your writing speak for itself, and Pratchett does that. He trusts us, he trusts what he wrote down. I think when we are insecure about what we're writing, we have a tendency, even in the text, want to explain what we're saying to someone. But if they don't get it, then it wasn't for them, or it didn't work. I would take a step back, view it from afar, let people take it in, and trust them to figure it out, and don't over-explain things, because that just ruins a joke, and it ruins a moment. You have a character watching someone they love die. You can't have them be like, and she cried because she was sad because her loved one was dying. Like, we know that. Thank you for explaining that to us. For the most part, if you're doing your job, we know why they're sad. So, if that makes sense, great. If it doesn't make sense, great, okay? Anyway, I loved Terry Pratchett. I loved Guards Guards. What should I read next of his wonderful Discworld? I've appreciated your support. I'm super excited to keep making videos, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, week, whatever, and we're all gonna get through it. Thanks for watching.